Dragonflight Dungeon level squish in Season 4. Harder Mythic Zero with no affixes or timer for the same loot. So Blizzard's changing a lot of the dungeon difficulties here. They're basically completely changing how dungeon difficulties work. And rightfully so, because a lot of their comments here were actually correct in terms of what we do with Heroic and Normal, and that's basically nothing once the Mythic season starts. So let's see what this is all about. Normal dungeons will remain unchanged. That's fine. Normal dungeons are really just for leveling up at this point and experiencing the content for the first time. Heroic dungeons will be changing to be a difficulty of current Mythic Zero and will remain queuable, but will drop current Mythic Zero loot. So this is good. I think it's a good change because Heroic difficulty, I mean, who the hell does that anymore? People just skip Heroic and go to Mythic Zero. So I think Blizzard just kind of saw the community and what they were doing there and decided, yeah, we'll just change Heroic to Mythic Zero and basically delete Heroic from the game. So I think that was a good change for them to make. Now, Mythic Dungeons will be changing to be the difficulty of current Mythic 10. And let's be honest, the early Mythic Plus Dungeons difficulties at this point, at least for me, because I raid so often with you guys, I skip most. I think I do start with Mythic 10, to be honest. Most seasons, I've been starting in the teens. I don't do Mythic 2, 3, 4, all that stuff. That's kind of pointless at this point. So I think they also saw what people are doing there, and they were like, let's just get rid of those difficulties. So now, basically, what is a 2 will now be a... what would be a Mythic Plus 1, I believe, or a 2 would be a 10 now. Yeah, so we'll look at the scales and how it changed. But they're basically squishing down the Mythic Plus levels. They're moving everything closer together, essentially, right? Heroic is getting eliminated, so everything's kind of shifting up and being squished together a little bit more. Mythic Plus Dungeons will now scale up to new Mythic Plus 10. Okay, so basically what you currently understand as a Mythic Plus with a timer and the affixes and everything will really start at... Mythic 20 will now be a Mythic 10. That's basically how it is. 10 used to be the sweet spot for anything before... was either a carry or Loudmouth Bads being angry. Glad for it. Yeah, no, I think it was a good choice. I think it was the right thing to do. But let's continue to read here and delve more into this. As part of the ongoing development in Dragonflight, the development team has identified 3 issues and addressed them based on community feedback regarding the dungeon system as it currently is. Heroic dungeons are barely distinct from normal dungeons at a maximum level, and that distinction mostly only matters during the few days after players first reach maximum level. This is true. Yeah, Heroic dungeons become completely useless. I mean, who the hell is doing Heroic dungeons this far into a season? Even with alts. From what I've seen, I don't play alt. I just play my Blood DK, because he is me and I am him. But, as far as Heroic goes, who the hell's doing that shit? And nobody does it after the beginning. People do it just to gear up, maybe a little bit in the early parts of the expansion, so they can do Mythic Plus, but otherwise, Heroic gets skipped for the most part. So I think this was a good change. They're basically making Heroic your entry into Mythic Plus at this point. They've scaled it up. Mythic Zero dungeons rapidly lose relevance a few weeks into the expansion, once Mythic Plus season starts, with the occasional exceptions for weekly event quests. That's right. Yep. This is true. The only true endgame for dungeon mode Mythic Plus currently revolves around a timer. This means that other than a few mega dungeons, there really isn't any place for endgame players who enjoy a more methodical dungeon pace and gameplay. That's right, so this is a good choice to remove the timer, get rid of that shit. So essentially now Mythic Plus, when you start at a 0, this could be your practice run. This could be where you learn the tanking paths, something that I don't do. I just go dick first into every freaking Mythic Plus and figure it out as I'm going, which pisses people off, but hey, fuck it. And you'll be able to do Mythic Plus now, giving you that Mythic difficulty and giving you some good item level jumps from Heroic, but there will be no timer involved. Yeah. Sam, you always say Death Knights do what the living cannot, but here at the Aperture Science, we do what we must because we can. Okay. I'm so confused by what I just read. You spam a specific one for one specific piece of loot for transmog. True. Yeah, true. That's what people do in Heroic. Given the combination of 2 underutilized difficulties and a gap in meeting player demand, we restructured dungeon difficulty and rewards in Season 4. Right, so Heroic difficulty and rewards will move up So they're moving up what Heroic currently is. You can see it on this chart. There's a nice visualization here. This is where Heroic was. Now it's moving up to what would currently be a Mythic Zero, right? These dungeons will remain available to queue via Group Finder, though the item level requirement to queue will also go up accordingly. Okay, so that's good. I mean, you're going to require people to have a higher item level to do it, which actually extends the life of normal, too, in a way. Because now people are not just going to jump right into Mythic Plus, because that's going to be much more difficult. You can't just jump into a Mythic 10 if you haven't really done much Heroic yet. So that's cool, unless you're a big-time raider like myself from the season before. The existence of the Mythic Plus system will pick up where that leaves off, such that Mythic 5 in Season 4 is roughly equivalent to the rewards from Mythic rating awarded to a 15 today. Right, so they're squishing everything down, so what was that range of 0 to 20 is now a range of 1 to 10. Right? So where Mythic Zero was before, that's now moved up. Heroic is now that difficulty, and Mythic Zero now is what a 10 currently is, but without a timer. Right, so you have no timer, you get to run the Mythic, and then from there, things are going to move up in difficulty up to level 10, Mythic 10, which is currently what you would see in a Mythic 20, and the rewards will work the same way. So let's see what this, a little bit more here. No timer like the present. Yeah, no timer like the present. Okay, Season 4 changes will apply to all 8 of the Dragonflight Dungeons. So this is another piece of news they dropped today, actually. Yes, what is the pool for Season 4? It is all of the Dragonflight Dungeons. So there you go. Now we know which dungeons are going to be part of Mythic Plus Season 4. It's going to be all the Dragonflight dungeons, so you'll be able to get in and do all these, and obviously avoid the no-coup defensive like it is the Black Plague, because that fucking dungeon sucks. Cool, you know, it's a cool-looking aesthetic. Fun little thing they did there with the flying around, but damn it, I hated running that shit. Yeah, let's fly. Yeah. Half-Life disrespect. Yeah, this is horrible. I played Portal before, actually, pretty good game. But anyways, yeah, the rest of the dungeons, I don't mind them that much. Like I said, no coup defensive, I really don't care for. But it's going to be part of the pool. Those are your pool of dungeons for the next season. The main goal here was to recalibrate core difficulties to align with seasonal player experience and progression. Serve the community who enjoys dungeon content but feels like Mythic Plus content isn't for them due to the pressure of taking part. That's true. The timer does certainly add a level of pressure that makes it, I don't know, more competitive, slightly less enjoyable if you just want to be casual. Creating a better environment for Mythic Dungeons to prepare more players for Mythic Plus. This is good. I do think Mythic Zero will be a nice place to kind of get in, figure out how the dungeons work at a Mythic difficulty without the worry of a timer. Like I said, maybe if you're a tank, you're learning the paths. Maybe for a healer, you're learning how some of the mechanics work, when you got to dispel certain things. And maybe as a DPS, learning that when you should parse and when you shouldn't, you piece of shit. Stop doing that and do the damn mechanics. How about that? Normal difficulty, this will remain unchanged. That's fine. Like I said, this is really just a leveling experience in normal difficulty at this point, and that's the only time you ever do normal. Heroic, the tuning and rewards, like I said, will be increased to be equivalent of Mythic Zero dungeon current system. That's fine. Mythic difficulty changes and mechanics will not be present in this difficulty. This remains a queuable experience. So if you want to get a little taste of what Mythic is going to be like, you do Heroic. Heroic will give you that. You'll get in there and do that. All I do is parse no matter what. Yeah, many people play the game that way. Heroic, the tuning and rewards of this difficulty are increased to the equivalent of Mythic Zero, like I said. Mythic, the tuning and rewards of this difficulty are increased to the equivalent of plus 10. So now Mythic dungeons basically start at what a plus 10 currently would be, which realistically, that's when Mythic difficulty honestly starts at this point. Like I said, Mythic Plus 0 up to 10 are really just you building up your key to plus 10, because those first couple keys are a joke. They're not really anything other than some health scaling. So this is good. You kind of skip that part of it. There are no timers or affixes, which is nice on the changing special, and no limitations on changing specializations or talents. Oh, this is cool. So you'll be able to basically, get your spec down right. See how you feel about it. And figure out if you like certain talents, you can switch them up in the middle of a run and balance everything out before you get into the real Mythic Plus content. The goal is to create a mega dungeon-like difficulty for this experience. That's a pretty good goal. I actually like that idea. This difficulty should present a meaningful challenge to provide commensurate rewards without the pressure of the current Mythic Plus system. Mythic Zero is still on a weekly lockout under this model. Okay, that's fine. I actually like what they did with Mythic Zero a lot here. And I like what they did with Heroic. Pushing it up, I've said this about rating. I wish Heroic was a bit more difficult, and Mythic rating can be something else entirely. I don't know what the hell Mythic rating is. I wish they would honestly just make it like, this Mythic rating is not a real thing. It's just a competitive part of the game that people do for aesthetic purposes. Like they get some kind of cool aesthetics for their armor or something. But otherwise, the end game should be Heroic rating. Just make Heroic rating a little bit more difficult. That's what I wish Blizzard would do on that side of things. Yeah, just make cosmetics for Mythic rating. And make really Mythic rating just about race to world first. And beyond that, people can just go try to do it for an aesthetic purpose. But other than that, Heroic should be the end game. But I digress. Mythic Plus, here we go again. Mythic Plus season will have the rewards of level 10 with a +2, starting from what would regularly be a +11. So +2 would be a +11, okay? Starting at level 10. Okay, so a 2 starting from what would regularly be a +11 in current Mythic Plus systems. A +5 would be a +15, and a +10 would be a +20. Right, so now the scale, the way it works, is from 10 to 20. From 1 to 20 will now be squished into basically what is now going to be 1 to 10. You're going to squish it all down into that little window now. It's already purely cosmetic, unless you actually care about 3 extra item levels, but people do care about 3 extra item levels. That's the problem. I do. Shit, I would take 3. At this point, once you get to the high end, every little bump up in item level matters to you, because you can barely get any higher. Affix slots will slot in at +2, +5, and +10. Okay, so that's how that's going to work. That's how you add your affixes on. We still got Bursting, Bolstering, Entangled, and Corporal, and Fortified, and Damn it, and Corporal. Damn it. Dungeon ratings should be equivalent to what they represent in the current system. There should be a smaller range of keystone levels to find groups for, and more meaningful progression between each level. That's good. That's good. I agree. Right now, the way it was, the 20 levels was kind of ridiculous. There wasn't really a change. Like, was there a real difficulty change from a 9 to, or from an 8 to a 9? No. What the hell was, there was no point to it. Honestly, you tried to push as fast as you could so you could just skip that stuff and get a higher key. So here's where the real looting starts. So again, here we see item levels now. Mythic Zero is going to give you a 493. Remember, Mythic Zero is not going to have a timer. There will be nothing involved with that. That'll just be like your entry into Mythic Plus. Heroic Dungeons are now what a Mythic Zero was. Those are going to give you 476 item level. Damn. That's really good. But they did say that the item level requirement will be raised to be able to queue up. So we see where Heroic used to be and where it's going to be now in terms of difficulty. They're going to move up the required item level to be able to queue up for Heroic, which is good. I think it brings some relevancy back to Heroic. Mythic 2 will give you 496. Again, Mythic 2 is going to be equivalent to what an 11 or 12 was. 3 and 4 will be equivalent to a 13, 14 in terms of difficulty. 5 and 6, 15, 16. We see where this is going. 7 and 8, 17 and 18. And then your +10, so here's +9 will be a 19. Your +10 is basically what your +20 used to be. So that'll give you the maximum item level drop, right, from your vault. So we see +10 giving 522. 522 item level is going to be the highest item level you can get from Mythic Plus now. What used to be your +20, now you just got to do a 10. Now, they did say this isn't like +10 is going to be current difficulty. +10 is going to feel like a +20. But everything's just kind of been squished down, basically deleting a lot of the irrelevancy of what, like I said, an 18 and 19, what the hell was the difference between those two? Nothing. So I think this is a good change in terms of that. Flightstone earning, Mythic Plus will, yeah, so Flightstones, you start to get them. This means +2 in Season 4 will give you the same numbers, +12. Again, just look at the scaling and how it works, and you can see Aspect Crests will be available in any Mythic difficulty from 6 and up, which makes sense because before it was 16 and up. So again, you're just kind of scaling things, and that's how the crests will work as well from all the levels below, but Aspect Crest is what I care about because, you know, I'm a Giga Chad, and that's all I need right now. So again, these are the changes that have been made. I think they're good changes. I like what they did with Heroic. Again, I'm waiting for them to have this, bring this same energy into rating and change that shit up. I wish they would just pump Heroic up a little bit. and basically delete Mythic rating. Delete Mythic rating, just make it a competitive thing that they do for a Race to World first, and then beyond that, it's not something you ever have to do unless you want to try to get some cosmetics. Again, we talked about this, so now we also know they revealed Faded rating. We know there's going to be Faded rating, and what the maximum item level in the game will be for the rest of Dragonflight. There it is, boys. 528. If you see somebody 528 it out, you know they are a degenerate, no lifer, but also a legend. 528 item level will be the highest item level that you can get from Mythic Faded rating, the top-end content in the entire game for the rest of Dragonflight. So that's good. What is it right now? 490, 498? What the hell is the item level? The highest item level you can possibly get right now. The legendary is like item level 500, right? Or 510 or something. 489. Yeah, I flipped the 9 and the 8. 489 is the highest right now. So that will come from LFR Faded rating. Damn. Oh my god, talk about making our gear relevant. If you're anywhere between 480 and 489, you can get some gear from LFR Faded rating. So jumping into normal, you're going to go 493 to 502, heroic 506 to 515, and then mythic 519 to 528. So there it is. 522 again from the highest Mythic Plus in your vault, and 528 from Faded Mythic rating. Nice. Nice. Little side piece of news, they are changing the Hearthstone events. That way all 3 locations pop up whiz-bang at the same time every hour. So there you go. You just pick a spot and you sit there, and he's going to pop up in all 3 locations. Yeah. 496 technically. 496 and a Farak technically. Yeah, what? He's saying without the upgrades? 496. The Lego's 496. Yeah, 496. So that would probably mean if you have the Lego and all 489 item level, you'd probably be at 490. Right? I would think if you have a 496 weapon, you'd probably be at a 490 item level, which would be the highest possible item level you could have right now. So still, I mean, this is a big pump. This is a big pump up because you're going to be basically jumping into normal Faded raid and getting upgraded gear. That's pretty crazy.